Hi, my name is Garrett, and I'm a character and environment designer here at Pixar Animation Studios, and today I get to draw Cruz Ramirez, who is going to be a brand new character from the film Cars 3, which comes out June 16th. So if you guys have any questions for me while I draw, go ahead and put them in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. So let's get started. The first thing I like to do when I'm drawing a car is just to kind of section off on the page where that car is going to go. Otherwise, when you start, you can have the back end of it kind of off page. And though cars are kind of square shaped, it's actually best to draw an oval on the page as a place to start doing that. And the car will hopefully fit within that. So we've got that kind of central area, and we know the car will fit there. Secondly, this is just, I always start with a sketch. That way I can be loose and not worry too much about exact lines. And I'll go over it with pen in the second step. So we've got our oval. I'm going to go ahead and start on the front of Cruz here. And kind of remembering her shape. Thinking about perspective, thinking about where that bottom line is, the bottom of the car. The good thing about a sketch too is if there's any parts that look off when you're midway, you can just draw over and make those adjustments without it being permanent. And cars are very particular on their lines, unlike a human character where the lines can kind of have more of an organic shape to them. Cars are all about the smoothness of line, and that's really what describes their shape. Let's see, Kelly asked, what's my favorite Pixar character to draw? I really had a good time designing characters on Cars 3, and so I got to draw Lightning McQueen a lot as a reference to go along, and so I'd say Lightning McQueen is my favorite character to draw. So I'm kind of getting in here the wheel well shape and where the bottom of Cruz will lie in here, where that back wheel is. And so again, if you're just joining us, I'm drawing Cruz Ramirez. She's a brand new character in the Cars universe that you guys will be able to see in the movie Cars 3, which comes out June 16th. And if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell. That way you'll get notifications every time a live video from Pixar is up. So this is called the greenhouse of the car. That's really the eyes of our characters. And so that front windshield is really important, as that's really the face of our character. And see here at my sketch, I can go ahead and bring these lines out once I have them down, because I'm going to draw over this. Get the eyebrows in. And the way we can kind of tell a female and a male car apart from each other is we really accentuate those eyebrows on the female cars and give them more of an arc. I'll have her front wheel turned. That helps it feel like she's not just a block. So this wheel, we're looking more straight on at it, so it's going to be more of a circle, and the one in the back, we're looking down at it in perspective, so it'll be more of a oval shape. So Lexi asks, what inspired you to become a character designer, and which school did you attend? I was homeschooled all the way up through high school, and then I went to Humboldt State University and realized I really liked to draw. Actually, I knew I liked to draw all the way through homeschool, which gave me plenty of time to do it. But to pursue it in college, I decided after Humboldt State, because I still needed some technical training, to go to the Academy of Art University in San Francisco and that really gave me a good foundation in traditional illustration. And I would definitely recommend that school. So here I've got my basic sketch in. I'm going to put just the eye location. Whenever you're doing eyes on cars, the rule of thumb is just to keep them one eye width apart from each other. That way you know that they'll be looking like they're focused. And again, here I can tell that I don't have enough room to put the mouth, so I'm going to go ahead and just bring this line up a little bit higher. And I'll show you how I can fix that in the next step. So again, keeping this very loose, but it's getting closer. I'll bring this in. And yeah, it looks good. And then I'll kind of pick a horizon line here just so I know where that lies, and I might bring in a design element in the background. See, Sebastian asks, what is your favorite Pixar movie? I think my favorite Pixar movie is Ratatouille. I like the stylization in the background and in all the characters in that film. And plus, it's just a very original story. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to take my sketch and put it underneath another sheet of paper. That way I've got it, as you can see. You can still see it faintly. And now I can go over with a pen and really choose my lines more carefully because I've got the bases there. So I'm going to go in with just a regular Sharpie. You guys probably all have these. And I'll start up here on the front corner. And I'm trying to keep these lines as clean as possible without going over them too much. Because again, cars are a clean shape, and all of those lines are very important. And Cruz actually has some rear view mirrors, so I'll put those in here as well. Cruz is a cool character, and one of the neat things about her is that the guy that designed her was the same artist that designed Lightning McQueen for Cars 1. And so he had the job of designing this next main character. And you can kind of see some of the same influences throughout. So again, if you're just joining us, my name is Garrett, and I'm a character and sets artist here at Pixar Animation Studios. And I'm drawing Cruz Ramirez, who's going to be a brand new character in the movie Cars 3, which comes out June 16th. So Finding Movies asks, who's your favorite Cars character? My favorite Cars character is probably Chick Hicks. I think he's a really original character. He's kind of the goofy guy that's constantly trying to win in Cars 1. And he does make an appearance quite a bit in Cars 3 as well. And he's just really kind of an original character. Seems funny, and yeah, I would say Chick Hicks. All right, so you can see I'm getting these, choosing which lines to go with here, and kind of starting to see the shape pop out. Put the front line of the greenhouse here. And get the eyebrows in again. Taking my time to make sure these are accurate. Because really cars all have the same elements, the same exact shapes, and it's simply those lines that describe the difference between one car and the next. Mackenzie asked, how long have you been working at Pixar? I've been working at Pixar for 6 years now. I came on in 2010 as an intern on Cars 2, actually. So, and then after that, I got to work on the Cars tunes a lot. And so I've been in the Cars world quite a bit. But Cars 3 is the first time I actually got to design some of the characters, which was fun. Here at Pixar, we kind of split between character designers and sets designers. So the people that are good at drawing characters draw characters, and the people that are good at drawing buildings and trees and pretty much everything except the characters kind of stay in that realm. And that's normally what I do, but cars are kind of in between. They've got those hard edges and are a little different than a human character. And so I was able to cross over for this movie. All right, so we've got those basic lines coming in here. I'm going to go ahead and put a mouth in too. Actually, put the hood line. And get a nice happy mouth here. She's got these kind of teeth that stick down. And since this wheel is turned out over here, we're going to see it a little bit coming out the back side. And once I've got that basic structure, I like to go in and start to add some of the darker tones. Just block it in with a bigger marker. So we'll do that under the wheel wells here. Let's see. Milan asked, what's your favorite memory from working at Pixar? Favorite memory? I think one of my favorite memories is just when I got the job here at Pixar. There's quite a process we're going through and getting selected for the internship. But just getting that final call saying, hey, we're excited to let you know that we're going to bring you on as an intern. And that really sticks in my mind as an exciting memory from Pixar. So it always helps to put in a drop shadow underneath the car. That helps to ground the car. And you can then immediately tell that it's on something. It's on a road. And it's basically dropping the same shape of the car down a little bit. And you can see I've left the wheels just blank. One thing I learned drawing cars on this movie is that it's important to keep the tires and the wheels simple. Because it's really easy to have the detail that's in the hubcaps and on the tires be more interesting on a quick read than the car itself. And so for some reason it just always looks better to have the wheels and the tires simple. So I'm just adding tires in here as a dark shape. And I just have it be the same exact color as the shadow. So tires can always just become the same shape as the shadow, and that helps it just become grounded. So I added dark tires. I'm going to go ahead and darken in the eyes here. I leave a little notch out of them to show that there's a reflection. And I'm going to darken in the mouth. Preston asked, what was the most challenging thing you ever had to draw at Pixar? You know, that's a great question, because when I was asked to draw characters for this movie, I had never drawn a car before. And so, of course, I said, sure, I can do that. But immediately after I went to my office, I started freaking out because I didn't know how to draw cars. And so I just looked at a lot of pictures of cars and just kept drawing them. You guys saw some of my early pictures of cars that I drew and actually showed in some of the art reviews. they weren't great. Let's just put it that way. So now I've just got a regular pencil here, 4B pencil, and it's going to be what I use to kind of just put in some value. You could do this with a lighter marker or just any pencil. All of these pens and pencils that I'm using are things that I'm sure you guys have lying around. So I'm putting in a core shadow here because we've got light coming straight down on the car. So there's going to be light hitting the top of Cruz, and then also the light hitting the road bounces back up and hits the bottom of Cruz. And so there's actually a light area below and a light area above. So that makes our shadow, we call it core shadow, right in the middle. I'll just kind of blend it out here. This one little spot was a little too dark there, so I'm going to just blend that out. Take it all the way off the page. Get that nice and soft. Because cars are reflective. That's what separates them from other characters, and to make sure it doesn't look like a block of wood. See, Connor asked, what's the book in the background? I will talk about that book at the end. That's a little surprise I've got for you guys. Let's see here. So again, the wheels inside the tires are usually set back in, so we've got to make sure we've got a shadow on the upper side of those. And that can even be a cast shadow. Cast shadows always have a dark line. A cast shadow is the shadow of that if light is interrupted, it puts a cast shadow down. So you can always put a little hard line there. So other things that will cast a shadow are this mirror here. So I'm going to put the shadow coming off of that. That helps you know that it's sticking out, and a little shadow underneath it. And now forgot to put the mirror in on the other side. So I'll just bring this line down, bring the mirror out there. Let's see, forgot to put this brow line in. And Selena asked, what do you like most about your job? That's a great question. I always tell people my favorite thing about this job is that I just get to come into work and draw all day long. And as someone that likes to draw and is an artist, it doesn't get much better than that. Being able to just have time to get paid to draw things. And usually the stuff you're drawing is fun to draw. Old buildings, cars, cool characters, trees. Whoops. And now since the light is actually bouncing from the street and up here, if there's anything that's sticking out, it's the opposite. We've got to put shading on the top of it. So we've got Cruz has this little thing that sticks out here. To darken the top there. And then I'll darken anything that's a little bit more vertical. This will help her eyes to stick out as well. So again, if you're just joining us, my name is Garrett, and I'm a character and sets designer here at Pixar. And I'm drawing Cruz Ramirez, who's a brand new character from Cars 3, which will be in theaters June 16th. So Cruz also has a little door handle that comes right off of this area. And let's see, get all that in. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So then I'm going to just take the bigger part of this Sharpie and darken the deep shadows, so it'll help to pop her out even more. All right, Antonio asked, what advice do you have for future character designers? My advice to future character designers is just to not get caught up in drawing characters, but to just get good at drawing anything. And so that's what I always tell anybody that asks me about, how to get better as an artist is just you need to draw stuff from life. And because a big part of being an artist is how to see things and to build a vocabulary in your head of what things look like in 2 dimensions. So to translate things from 3 dimensions into 2 dimensions. And you do that by drawing from life, because you're looking at things in 3D and then having to translate them onto the paper. That's the skill. And so to become a better character designer or an artist in any degree is just practice drawing things from life. And you can't do that enough. And Sal asks, how many hours a day do you practice? That's a good question too. I think it's interesting because since I'm just drawing all day, it kind of is its own practice. That goes right along with why this is such a good job, because you're practicing all the time, and so you're constantly getting better, hopefully. But it really doesn't leave any extra time to just practice for fun, which is fine. I actually do better at drawing things when people give me an idea of what to draw. So that's really kind of what an illustrator is, as opposed to a fine artist. So if I just sit down with a piece of paper, and I'm sure you guys are a lot better at this than I am, but I find it really hard to just draw something. And so I really like having an assignment of something to design. Okay, so I'm just darkening the areas and putting in some kind of motion. So again, I'm keeping the wheels really just loose, because I want them to look like wheels but not be distracting. And let's see, so I've got my core shadow here, and then I want to put in just a background, because you can see, since I'm not using any color, she doesn't quite pop off the page very well. And so I've got that horizon line that I started a while ago. And so I'll just mark that on both sides. And I'm going to just darken in an area which will help create contrast for the top of her. So again, I'm following these lines. This is kind of one of those places you don't want to accidentally go over the line. There we go. Paul asks, what other Pixar movies have you worked on? So I was an intern on Cars 2, and then I got hired on after that into the shorts department here at Pixar, which is no longer working on anything, but at the time we were doing Cars tunes and Toy Story tunes. And so you guys have probably seen some of those. I worked on Partysaurus Rex, which was a Toy Story tune, and Radiator Springs 500, which was a Cars short that the Disneyland ride was kind of based off of. And then I worked on Toy Story That Time Forgot, which was the Toy Story Christmas special, which was really fun. And then I got to work on The Good Dinosaur, which is a feature film. And then Cars 3, and now I am working on The Incredibles 2. So again, if you like this video, please subscribe below and remember to ring the bell or click the bell, and that way you'll get notifications every time a Pixar live video goes on, and they're going to be doing these more often. Okay, so again, we've got the shadow, we've got the dark shape up top, and I'm going to just darken some of these areas, make sure the window's looking good. And we'll darken the back here. these teeth looking right. Patty, tell us about your family. That's a great question. I am married and have 5 children and 1 on the way. So I've got a big family. My wife homeschools all 5 of them. And they all love to draw. And I get to teach that part of homeschool. And yeah, we live here in the Bay Area. But they're really my inspiration. Okay, so now I'm just putting, again, a little bit more dark. Anything you can do to get things to pop is always helpful. So I'm just putting in some bigger dark areas around Cruz. When we're designing cars, we're trying to create something original, and yet there's obviously a lot of really cool car designs out there, and so we're influenced by cars that we like, and a lot of the guys that were working on this really love cars, and you can kind of see it. There's a lot of passion there for car lovers. Windows often put down a little reflection underneath, so I'm going to darken that, and I can just darken it right under the eyes. That shows that this hood is reflective, and actually along those lines I can actually put a reflection in on this ground just by putting in some pencil. Again, just kind of blending it out. Sorry, I'll hold it this way. So I'm going to blend that out, get it nice and soft. And then I can take my eraser and just thinking about this tire reflecting straight down, just cut that edge off. And this tire reflecting down because the light from behind is showing. And then these hubcaps are white, so we'd see those in the reflection as well. So I'm just taking that same shape and bringing it down here. Little happy reflection. Anderson asks, who inspired you to be an artist? My dad is an artist, and he really was. So there was art in the house. He drew often, whatever. We'd always tell him to draw stuff, and he would. And also his dad before him was an artist as well. So there was always kind of a sense of appreciating art, and then also just being homeschooled really helped because I was really encouraged to just go ahead and keep drawing, and had plenty of time to do it. So we're almost done here. Often, just to again make it pop, I have a whiteout pen, and this paper has kind of a milky tone to it, so I can go in with the whiteout pen and bring out some of those lights. So I'll put some on the headlights. I'll put some right around the center of these eyes here, and I can put some additional dots on the eyes like reflections. Bring some down here onto the bottom of the wheels and along the top edges, along the hood here, and maybe the door handle on top of the hood. This again is just to make it clear that the light's coming from above. And Holly asks, hello from Ukraine. Or she says hello from Ukraine. Hi. Wow, people all over the world. That's cool. All right, and that's just about it. Actually, one last thing I like to do is just, instead of this being a blob, I was thinking I could just put in some building shapes here in the background. Maybe she's driving in the city. Anytime you can kind of make a piece of art interesting if you're just drawing a character. It's always nice to do that. And maybe, the road. Again, I like to do environments, so we'll include that. All right, so again, thank you for joining us. Here's the finished piece. Thank you for joining us and watching this video. Thank you for everybody who's subscribed and for following Pixar. And don't go away, because my good friend Mike Wu is going to draw another brand new character from Cars 3. And he'll be coming up right after me. They just need to walk over to his office. Again, keep an eye open for that. And then one last thing I wanted to mention, and somebody had asked this in the comments, is what's the book in the background? This is a project that I had the honor of working on, which is a book titled Lead the Way. And so I got to do all the illustrations for this. It's a book based on the movie Cars 3. And it will be available April 4th. And you can actually pre-order it by clicking on the link below in the comments and check it out. It's full of more cool car drawings. So again, thank you, and we'll see you later.